Hi. In this session, I will explain about applying CSS to HTML document. To show an example, I have taken some content from Wikipedia to build a simple HTML page. There could be three methods for styling HTML. First, using an inline style method. Second, using internal style sheets. And third, using external style sheets. Please note that if you are not understanding about the type of CSS style declarations I am using, then please don't worry. You will be learning that in the next sessions in detail. Now in this session, let's just focus on how to apply the CSS style to an HTML element. First, let's start with applying CSS to HTML using inline style method. Now inline styles are applied using style attribute assigned by one or more than one CSS rules as values. If you recall the session about structure of CSS rule, we will not use any selector here. We shall just use the declaration block. In this HTML page, I have a heading defined using an H1 tag and some paragraphs using P tag. I have written some CSS styles for these tags as values assigned to the style attribute. For body, there is a font property assigned, where font size is 13 pixels and font family is Arial. This rule will be inherited by most of the HTML elements in the page, as that is one of the features of CSS, which you will learn in detail later. Now, for H1, I'm applying color as green, font family as Georgia, and 22 pixels as the font size. Now I've added some padding, text decoration as underline, and I have aligned the heading to the center of the page using text align property. For paragraph, color is dark gray, which is represented by a hash 212121 in hexadecimal color code. Font size is 14 pixels, and I've added some padding. Let the paragraphs inherit the font family from the body. Let's check this in the browser. You can see how the rules I defined in the page have been applied to the HTML elements. Now, if you observe, there are three paragraphs in the web page. To apply the CSS rule to all the paragraphs using inline styling method, we have to make an effort to reach out every paragraph tag and do that. Imagine, if there are hundreds of paragraphs and hundreds of other tags in this page, then this approach will be highly cumbersome. The second method, using internal style sheets, solves the issue and makes the process simpler. Now, internal style sheets are nothing but writing CSS rules in between the opening and closing style tags in the head section of the HTML page. In this approach, we have to use the selector and declaration block structure. Let me move all CSS rules in the head section. Let's save the page and check this in the browser. So you can see the same styling is being applied. Now, if I add one more paragraph in this page, I don't have to write the CSS rule again, as it's been globally declared in the top section of the page. So, don't you think this will make the process much simpler compared to inline style method? Now, imagine you're building a very big website which has multiple pages, and all pages have some tags which needs to be styled with the same CSS rules. For example, if the other pages have paragraphs which has to be styled in the same way as it's done in this page, then you'll have to copy this block of header section in all the pages. It's easy to copy CSS rules in all pages, but eventually this will become tough to maintain when the number of pages and CSS rules will increase. So, is there an easier way to maintain the CSS rules? Yes, there is a way, which is the third method to apply CSS to HTML pages, and it's known as external style sheets. For using external style sheets, first, we'll have to have a file which contains all CSS rules. This file will be called a CSS file or style sheet, and should have an extension .css in order to get recognized by the browser. I will create a file called first.css, and put all the CSS rules in this file. Here we go. We have first.css with all rules. Next step is to connect or link or import this CSS document into the HTML page. Now to achieve this, we use link tag in HTML. You can find more details about link tag in my course, HTML Workshop. Now, let's check this in the browser. You can see that same results are being achieved. We can also import the external style sheets using CSS as import directive. This directive has to be placed in between the opening and closing style tag in the head section and has to be supplied by the URL of the CSS file to be imported. If we check this in the browser, this works in the same way as the link tag import. If we compare inline style method, internal style sheets, and external style sheets, you might have understood that external style sheets are most easy and efficient way to manage CSS for HTML pages. So, I would recommend to practice this method, though there is a possibility that in a few cases we might need the other two methods also. So, this is all about applying CSS to HTML. I will conclude this session here, and please post your queries if any. Thank you.